Way back in 2004, a member on SaabCentral.com started a thread about how to add an auxiliary input to a Saab 9.3. I've got essentially the same car. Mine's a 2006, but I've got no AUX input, and I want to do that. First thing I wanted to do, right here I've got AUX displayed in the display. I can scroll through by hitting the buttons on my steering wheel. I've got radio, I've got CD, and I've got AUX. If you don't have AUX coming up in the display when you push the source button, you have to go to the dealer and get them to change something in the programming so that your AUX input works. But I've already got that, so I'm good to go there. Okay, the first step to adding this AUX input, I need to remove this thing. This is the climate control unit. And to do that, you just take a screwdriver, or if you've got the like the plastic tools for removing the interior parts, you know, the trim on the car, the trim tools I think they're called, you can use those, but I don't have that. So I just take like a towel or something, and I kind of shove the screwdriver back in there while protecting the edge of the fabric. I've already got this loosened up, so I don't need to do that. But by just wiggling it back and forth, you can get it so that you can pull this all the way out. Now once this is out, you just pull on the ends of these connectors, and the connectors will pull right off. And when the connectors pull off, you can just set the climate control unit aside and tuck those things back in there. Next thing to do is to remove the CD player and this piece above it that has something to do with the stereo. To remove that, well, actually what you need to do next is remove this tray on the bottom. Over here on the left side there's a little tab. When you run your finger up and down the side, you'll feel the tab. If you push in on it, you can feel it moving. What you need to do is the front edge of it, you actually need to pry it outward. So I stick a screwdriver in that little crack on the front edge, and with the screwdriver in the little crack, the screwdriver might be too big. With the screwdriver in the little crack, I can pry that little plastic piece outward. There we go. I can pry the plastic piece outward, and then that releases a tab on the inside that allows me to pull this out. There we go. So now that is pulled out, and I can just set it to the side. I've got a connection made in here for my GPS, so it's kind of different on mine than it would be on yours, but I can set that to the side for right now. Now I want to put a towel or something. Oh, it helps if you pull the shift lever all the way back too. Put it in, put the key in and pull the shift lever back so that you can get the stick out of the way. And now I want to put a towel here to protect my wood and the other stuff. And to get this thing out, I take my screwdriver, and there's a little tab on each side that I need to pull inward, and then kind of wedge it forward, and then go to the other side and wedge it forward. And by going back and forth, I might have to reach back there. There we go. By going back and forth, I can pull this thing forward. And those are the two little tabs right there. And you actually have to pull them in again to get past the edge of this. But I can pull this all the way out, which gives me access to the back side of the CD player, the stereo. So now what I need to do here, there's some wires on this. My CDs are going to pop out, aren't they? Yeah, I don't want to break my CDs. Alright, so now that the CDs are out, on this connector, let me go ahead and pull this connector off. It doesn't need to be pulled off, but I'm just going to show you how it works. On this connector, if you look at the back side of it here, mine's got something different than Alex had. He didn't have anything plugged into this part of the connector. This connector actually has sub plugs that go into it. And this plug right here, as you turn it around, it's on the top left. Mine has a plug in there. If yours doesn't have the plug, you're going to have to hook you'll have to hook directly to the pins. But I've got the plug. So what I did, I actually just tapped into the wires going into there. You got 3 wires, a green, a gray, and a black. The black is your ground wire, the common wire that would go to the shield on the audio cable. And then your green and gray are the left and right channel. And right now I'm not sure which is left and which one is right. I'll figure that out, and if it's wrong, I'll open it back up and reverse it. But right now I've got a 50-50 chance of getting it right, so I'm just going to plug it in. Oh, so what I did here, I I got some tap connectors, and let me get some of those to show you how they work. I'll be right back. Okay, there are different kinds of tap connectors. These that I've got here are the ones I like. The way they work, you take a wire, you put it across the little metal bit there, and then you fold this over, and then you take some pliers and you clamp it down, and the metal piece slices into the jacket of the wire, and then once that's folded across like that, you can crimp this onto your other wire, and that's got a little spade connector in there, and it just slides in, and you've got a complete setup. It makes it easy to disconnect the tap if you want to. So what I've done, I've already installed my 3 taps on the 3 wires, and then right here I've got a little section of wire I made up. You can get this, it's just some kind of speaker wire you can get at Radio Shack. It's got a shield and a red and a white. The shield would be your ground. The red and the white wires are your left and right channel. And so I've already got the wires tapped onto there, and I've got the connectors crimped on. So all I need to do is plug them in. And this is my ground, which goes on the black. And then I'm not sure which is left and which is right, so I'm going to make a 50-50 guess here. And plug everything in. And then I'll reinstall this. Okay, so now I've got the wires tapped onto the 3 wires going into my AUX input. And I also got this at Radio Shack. It's a little stereo, 1/8" stereo jack. And I soldered the red, white, and shield wires onto that in the appropriate spots. And so now I'm going to take my plug that I've got going into my phone, which has all my music on it. I'm going to plug it in there, and on my phone I'll select some decent music, and it's playing. I need to select my source. It should work now. There's CD, and there's AUX. Oops, turn up the volume. So I've got that working. Okay, so now I've made sure I got my left and right channels right, so I can wrap everything up. Well, actually I can't, because I got to figure out where I'm going to plug this in. What I'm thinking of doing, let me turn this down. What I'm thinking about doing is just drilling a hole in this and installing this from behind. So I'll just have a little auxiliary jack on that, but I need to see what the plastic is like. If it's too thick, it's not going to work. But that's what I do next. Alright, now this is the scary part, because I'm actually going to be drilling into this plastic piece here, and I suppose that I can always replace this plastic piece somehow, if I can find a replacement. But I'm going to put it right here, because I checked there's going to be enough clearance back behind there, so I'm going to put it right here on the edge of my CD player. I think it'll be a good location. And I'm just kind of eyeballing it. I know there's going to be room. And I'm crossing my fingers that I'm right. I'm using a 7/32 inch bit. It might be different if you get a different kind of jack, but this will be about the right size for mine. Alright, so now I have a hole in my dash, which hopefully is a good thing. And I'm going to put some electrical tape on the back of this to protect the solder joints, because there's some metal back in there and I don't want anything getting touching the contacts. Okay, I actually had to enlarge the hole a little bit up to 1/4 inch, but now I've got my little jack installed. I've got too much wire here, but I did that on purpose. I wanted to have more than enough than not enough. So now that that's installed, well, you know what? Let me try it out. Plug this in before I put everything back together. There we go. It's working. Sounds good too. Alright, so Now I can just put everything back together, and I need to make sure these wires are tucked out of the way. So this goes back in first, and I need to make sure I can get access to these other cables at the same time. So this will go back in. That's right. Goes there. Sometimes these wires you gotta push them up in the back for this thing to slide back in. There, it snaps in place. I can push that out of the way. And next I'll put this back in. That snaps in place. And I can tuck my GPS cord down there and put my fancy semi-permanently installed GPS down here. And then climate control. Just put that in place loosely for now, and once again check this, make sure it's working. There we go. Out the window and ice cold beer sitting in the console.